Hi there, welcome back to my views and news. Three news stories for you. First one is from Eritrea. Second and third news stories from Ethiopia. Firstly, Eritrea. Last year, Al Burhan, Sudanese military chief, refused to give any role to Isaias Afwerki in Sudan. Isaias Afwerki, Iranian president, wanted to mediate in Sudan, but Al Burhan refused. But things are changing now. Al Burhan landed in Asmara, Eritrean capital, this morning. What does Sudanese military chief want from Eritrean President Isaias Afwerki? Secondly, Fano fighters, or you can say Fano backed elements, have distributed pamphlets in a town in the Amhara region, giving ultimatum to Ethiopian military to leave the town in the next 3 days. And thirdly, a convoy of Ethiopian military came under attack. It was ambushed by Fano fighters along a main road. The road remained closed for more than an hour. Exchange of fire and heavy fighting along this main road. Details for you in this video. Firstly, viewers, I think it was last year when Isaias Afwerki, Eritrean president, sent a special message to Sudanese military chief Al Burhan and his deputy chairman of Sovereignty Council Hamdan Dagalo. Back then, tensions were high between the military and FFC, military and protesters. Al Burhan met with Isaias Afwerki's representatives. Ivan Gabriab and Usman Saleh held meetings with Al Burhan and Hamati. The special letters containing a message from Isaias Afwerki was handed over to Al Burhan. Isaias Afwerki wanted to mediate in Sudan. Sudan shares border with Eritrea. Eastern Sudan shares border with Eritrea. Eastern Sudan is inhabited by Hedendwa, a tribe of members who live on both sides of the border. Bija, a sub branch of Hedendwa, its leaders, they have close ties with Eritrean government. But back then, Burhan refused. Isaias Afwerki stepped back. And then we saw a start of a war, civil war between Rapid Support Forces and Sudanese military in April. Now things have changed. Isaias Afwerki says that he wants Sudanese people to resolve the conflict on their own. This is official position of Eritrean government. But all Sudanese neighbors are hosting Sudanese political parties, Sudanese groups for talks. We have seen talks held in Egypt, in Ethiopia, in Kenya, in South Sudan, in Chad, and several rounds of talks were held between RSF and Sudan military under the auspices of US and Saudi Arabia in Jeddah too. So all want to have their horses in Sudan. Now, military chief Al Burhan has arrived in Eritrea this morning. Abdul Fattah Al Burhan, Sudanese military chief, landed in Asmara, welcomed by Isaias Afwerki. Meetings underway. What is the agenda? Yesterday, I reported about the arrival of a Sudanese delegation in Asmara. Delegation of Sudanese Democratic Bloc arrived in Asmara around 48 hours ago. That delegation had top leaders from Eastern and Western Sudan. From Western Sudan, Mini Minawi was there, Darfur governor, and other Juba peace deal secretaries, they were part of the delegation. From Eastern Sudan, Hedendwa, a tribe leader, was a part of the delegation. And we saw start of discussions in Asmara between Eritrean government and Sudanese government officials. Now, Al Burhan is there. What is the agenda? Well, 2 points. Firstly, Al Burhan could announce establishment of government in Port Sudan, because Khartoum is gradually coming under the control of rapid support forces, and we might see complete retreat of Sudanese military from Khartoum. Even without complete retreat, we could see Al Burhan announce Port Sudan as the capital of Sudan, and he would want international community neighbors to recognize the government in Port Sudan. Al Burhan was trapped in Khartoum. He managed to escape, and after that, he's been visiting neighboring countries. He visited Egypt, South Sudan. I think he visited Qatar too, and he visited then Eritrea today. So he wants recognition from these countries. He wants to establish government in Port Sudan. If these neighbors refuse to recognize Al Burhan's new government, it means that Burhan will have no recognition. That is why he is visiting these neighboring countries, firstly. Secondly, Burhan wants support from these neighboring countries, different types of support. He is hoping to get direct support, military support from Egypt. And from Eritrea, he wants support in terms of Eritrean influence, which Eritrea can use to talk to some Sudanese players to back Sudanese military. These players are largely neutral, like Mini Minawi, like Bija, Hidendwa, and other groups in eastern and western Sudan. Eritrea has links with them for years. Al Burhan is hoping that Isaias Afwerki would talk to these groups which are in Eritrea. They arrived there yesterday, and these groups would agree to support Sudanese military, or at least these groups would recognize the new government going to be announced by Al Burhan reportedly in coming days. That is why Al Burhan is in Eritrea. Very interesting that the same Al Burhan which rejected Isaias Afwerki's offer of mediation is now requesting Isaias Afwerki to support him. Once again, Eritrean president has emerged as a key player, a relevant player, you can say, in the Horn of Africa. He helped Ethiopian government in the fight against Tigray fighters. He is helping Somalia's government. He trained Somalia's military. Now Sudan's military chief wants support from Isaias Afwerki. I don't think Isaias Afwerki would support rapid support forces, because Eritrea has been opposing the expansion of rapid support forces toward its borders. At the same time, I think Isaias Afwerki would like to bargain. He would like to get something in return from Al Burhan. Why should Eritrea recognize or support Al Burhan? What will Eritrea get in return? So let's see what Isaias Afwerki bargains. We'll try to get more information from these meetings. So far, Burhan's arrival in Amhara being reported by several news outlets. Secondly, viewers, Fano fighters have distributed pamphlets. They are warning Ethiopian military to leave a town. It happened in Debre Tabor, South Gondar. Debre Tabor has changed hands several times in the past 2 months. Military was in Debre Tabor, then Fano fighters took control of it, then military retook, then Fano fighters re-entered, and after that military retook. So, Debre Tabor has changed hands several times. Now, Fano fighters, pro-Fano elements, they have distributed pamphlets in Debre Tabor. A deadline has been issued through these pamphlets to Ethiopian military. Deadline is Thursday, 3rd of September, 3rd of the new month, starting from tomorrow. The pamphlets state that military must retreat, must leave Debre Tabor till Thursday. If it did not, fighting will start. Fano fighters won't let military stay in Debre. So tensions rising. Already we have seen deadly clashes inside Debre Tabor around more than a week ago. Some civilians were killed too, hospitals were bombarded, schools were damaged too. Then Fano fighters withdrew from the town, military retook control of the town, but now Fano fighters are threatening to be back in Debre Tabor. Let's see, is this a hollow, empty threat, or Fano fighters really want to re-enter Debre Tabor? That we'll see in coming days. But this shows there are pro-Fano elements in Debre Tabor which Fano can use if they decide to enter the town. Thirdly, viewers, North Shoa zone of the Amhara region, where a convoy of Ethiopian military came under attack. It was ambushed by Fano fighters. North Shoa, almost all major big cities under government control, road under government control, but traveling along the road for Ethiopian military is not easy. That is what Fano fighters want, because they want to ensure that no reinforcements, military reinforcements, logistics enter Amhara from neighboring regions, especially from Oromia. So you see that they carry out attacks along Addis Ababa to Debre Birhan, Shorobit Road. They carry out attacks along Oromia, Valaga to Debre Marcos, Valaga to Dambicha Road, because they want to ensure that no one from Oromia, no military reinforcements from Oromia enter the Amhara region. The military has other routes which it can use to send reinforcements by air. Reinforcements, logistics can also be sent. So what happened yesterday was an ambush by Fano fighters on Ethiopian military near Debre Sena. Debre Sena is in North Shore zone. A convoy of Ethiopian military carrying some logistics was on its way. Fano fighters were waiting. They carried out the ambush. There was exchange of gunfire for around 2 hours. Road was closed. It remained closed for around 2 hours. And military suffered losses, and Fano fighters showed their presence along the main road in North Shore. So while Arega Kabbede says that there is only occasional guerrilla war in Amhara region, peace returning to the region, still big roads are not fully under the control of military. Fano fighters can easily target military convoys. Military, how can military clear the entire Amhara region? It's very difficult. Even entire roads cannot be cleared. Fano fighters can hide themselves anywhere along the road and wait for military convoys. Obviously, they have connections too. They know, they get information from the people too. So they can easily get information about movement of military. These ambush style attacks cannot be stopped. It's very difficult because Fano fighters have elaborate system of getting information from the people of the Amhara region, and they don't need any heavy weapons to carry out these assassination, these ambush style attacks. Only a few AK-47 enough for this type of attacks, and they don't have deadly weapons, no RPGs, no mortars, etc., no manpads. If they somehow manage to acquire these weapons, these ambush style attacks could be deadlier, and that is what they want. Reportedly, Fano fighters want to get more weapons which they can use while remaining able to move swiftly, which is their main quality, that they can easily shift their positions, they can change their locations. They want those types of weapons which they can easily carry and which can help their style of fighting reportedly. Thank you for watching.